Hey guys, Nate here, and today we're back with another Destiny 2 guide. This time for our Traveler's Chosen exotic sidearm. Now, a bit of a heads up. Before you can even start this quest, your prerequisite is completing Exodus preparation. You absolutely have to complete all of that stuff in order for you to gain access to Exodus evacuation. So the Exodus preparation is the same quest that launched the day the Ruinous Effigy launched. You absolutely need to complete all of that stuff in order for you to gain access to Exodus evacuation. Now, once you have done that, you're going to speak with Zavala in the tower, and he's going to give you this right here, which you see on screen, and it's going to say, speak with Ashermere in Io. So, a bit of a heads up. This quest is very easy, but it's very grindy. If you're a solo player, you can absolutely get this done in one sitting. It might take you 3 to 4 hours depending on how quickly you move. If you play in a fire team, if you play, with clan members, you can absolutely get it done in a fire team with your clan members. You can absolutely get it done as a solo player. Now, once you have spoken to Zavala and once you begin your quest, and you make it to Io, you're going to see this. Now, your next step is called Observer Effect, the little extra name that they give the quest, right? Observer Effect is, what you're going to do is, you're going to go into the Lost Sector, Sanctum of Bones. This Lost Sector is literally right across from Ashermere. What you're going to do is, you're going to collect traces of corruption by defeating Taken in this Lost Sector. You're going to defeat 2 bosses in the Lost Sector. What I mean is, you're going to defeat your primary boss in the Lost Sector, and there's going to be another boss in the boss room in this Lost Sector. So there's 2 bosses. When you defeat the second boss, or your secret boss if you want to call it, you're going to pick up a Taken sample. When you defeat the main boss and you get your key for the chest, this is what's going to give you your next step. So as you can see on screen, there's my Taken sample, and I'm collecting trace of corruption by killing Taken. So this first step it's all in this first Lost Sector. This first step, Observer Effect, is all in this Lost Sector. So a lot of this quest stuff, you can do more than one thing at the same time in the same place, which is really good. Now, once you have done this, again, you can do it by yourself, you could do it in a fire team, but once you have collected your traces of corruption, once you have gotten your Taken sample, once you have defeated the boss, and you've opened the chest, this is going to give you your next step, which is called Into the Pyramidion. As the name suggests, you're going to run the Pyramidion strike here on Io, and you're going to collect scan traces by defeating Vex. As I mentioned, you can complete both of these steps in one run. So you're going to complete your Pyramidion strike, and while doing that, you're going to defeat the Vex that are in the strike, and that's going to give you your scan traces. So keep this in mind. You have to make contact with the enemies in order for you to get scan traces. You can't let your team do all the work. It doesn't matter if you don't kill an enemy as long as you make contact with it, as long as you shoot it. Remember that. That's how it's going to work for this entire quest. Once you have done that, you're going to get your next step, which is called Double Blind. For Double Blind, what you're going to do is you're going to complete the Unexpected Guest heroic adventure. Nothing extra to it. Nothing, there is no secret. Just complete it as you normally would, as if it's your first time. And once you complete it, it's going to give you your next step. Now, for your next step, I want to tell you how to sound that out, and I even wrote it out, but I'm having trouble myself. But all it is to return to Ashermere, and you're going to have a conversation with him, and he's gonna give you a weapon, and this will complete Exodus evacuation for Io. Now your next step is Titan. Now, for your next step, we are heading to Titan. Your first step is going to be to speak with Sloane. That's going to kick off your quest here on Titan. Once you speak with Sloane, again, she's going to have this. You can read it if you'd like to. Your first step is called Clearing the Decks. For this, you're going to defeat a Hive Knight in the Methane Flush Lost Sector. This is a lost sector directly below you when you land right here next to Sloane. As with Io, there are going to be two bosses in this lost sector. You're going to defeat both of them, open the chest, and this is your first step. This is clearing the decks. This is what you have to do. And once you have done that, you will be able to move on to your next step. Fair warning though, this lost sector, it is a bit tough. Even being at the level that I'm at, they, really took the fighting to us. Now, once you have done that, your next step is called Acid Interception. For this, you're going to open one chest in the Solarium, and you're going to open two chests in the Festering Halls. You're going to open these chests by defeating Ultras. If you don't know where the Solarium is at, or the Festering Halls, go into the area where you begin the Savathun's Song Strike. As for that is a Solarium. The first place in the Savathun Song Strike, that's a Solarium. And then to the right, instead of going to the left in that door, you're going to go across from that to the right, and that's going to take you into the Festering Halls. And as you can see on screen, you absolutely won't miss the Ultras. They're not hidden, they're not invisible, they're big, huge, monstrous bosses, and you're going to see them as soon as you walk into here. Now, you're going to kill this first knight in the Solarium. There's only one. Festering Halls, there are two chests that you're going to open, and I'm going to do my best to show you where both of those are at. So once you've taken care of this knight, from here you're going to go to the right. You're going to follow that, and your first Ultra is right here. It's an ogre. So you kill your ogre. He's going to drop a chest. Make sure to take out as many as you can, because they will light you up. These little red bars are very unforgiving. Now, once you have killed your first Ultra in the Festering Halls, you're going to go to the left. You're going to continue running through the Festering Halls, and this right here, when you drop down, that's going to be your second boss. That's going to have your second chest in the Festering Halls. So again, it's very self-explanatory. You just continue to run through the Festering Halls, you'll get there. And now we have what we need. Now, once we have opened our chest, our next step is called Be the Wall. For Be the Wall, we're gonna run Savathun's Strike. We're gonna collect tag fragments by defeating Hive Ogres, Wizards, and Knights. As with the previous step, you can complete both of these in one run. You can complete the Savathun's Strike, and you can get your tag fragments in one run just by killing everything. And to touch up on what I mentioned earlier, you do have to make contact with the enemies so that you get credit for it. If you are just in there and your team's doing the work, you won't get the fragments that you need. You won't get, and that's really going to slow you down. So you don't have to kill an enemy if your teammate kills them, as long as you made contact with the enemy. So you're going to see right here I'm getting tag fragments. Now, you're going to complete your strike as you normally would. Once you do that, your next step is going to be the Will of Titan. For the Will of Titan, you're going to return to Sloane. You're going to talk to her, and from there, she's gonna send you to Zavala, and this completes literal first half of the quest. So Io and Titan, that's already half of your quest right there. And once you return to Sloane, she is gonna give you an auto rifle. It isn't masterworked. You can keep it if you want. You can vault it. You can dismantle it. You don't need it for your quest. You can do whatever you please with it. So we're moving on to our next step. Now, once we return to Zavala from Titan, he is going to give us this right here, a Masterwork Mindbender's Ambition, which is actually really freaking good. And it's also going to give us our next quest step. So for our next quest step, it is to speak with Brother Vance on Mercury. And as with Io and Titan, he's going to, have this text right here that you can read if you would like to. Once we speak to him, that's going to give us a Shattered Future. For this, we are going to complete a Garden World Strike, as well as collect timeline fractures by defeating Hydras, Minotaurs, and Cyclopses. As with Io and Titan, you can complete 2 objectives in one run. And as has been mentioned a few times before, you absolutely need to make contact with all of the enemies in order for you to get your timeline fractures. And again, this can be done in one run. Now, if you are playing with random people, it might mess you up, because if they just run ahead and they start to kill everything, they will get timeline fractures, you won't. So if you want to do these in, a fire team with friends or clan members, it's best to do it in that way. If you don't have, a fire team, if you don't have clan members, and you have to do it with randoms, just try to keep up with them. If they're running ahead, you do the same thing so that you can get your timeline fractures, because you don't want to keep running this over and over again. Now, once you completed a Garden World Strike and you have your timeline fractures, you're going to get your next step, which is In His Footsteps. And for In His Footsteps, you're going to complete Tree of Probability Strike. For this strike, you're going to collect Traces of Osiris by defeating Cabal. As with the previous strike, and as with Io and Titan, you can do both of these things in one run. You're absolutely going to get your Traces of Osiris as long as you're killing every single thing in your path. Now, once you complete the strike, this is going to give you your next quest step. So the only thing that's going to take long, it's going to be collecting these things if you don't get them in one run. But it's absolutely possible to get all of these things in one run. Once you open your chest, you're going to get a Disciple's Plea, which is to complete Bug in the System Heroic Adventure. As with the previous Heroic Adventure we completed, we're running this Heroic Adventure as if it was our first time. There's nothing extra to it. There's nothing, there's no secret here. There isn't any of that sort. And once we complete our Heroic Adventure, we get Better Days Ahead. For this, we need to return to Brother Vance and speak with him. And that is going to complete our Exodus Evacuation Mercury quest step. This one's a bit easier. This one, it isn't as, grindy as Io and Titan. But again, once you get to Titan, you're already halfway. So, you complete this, you're 3/4 done. And now we move on to our last and final step. So here we are on our last leg of the quest. Once you make it to Mars, that's it. It's the end. So you speak with Anna, and this is going to give us Signs of Life. For Signs of Life, what we're going to do is recover a data log from the mine lab. Now, I'm going to show you on screen where the mine lab is at in case you forgot. But by this point, you should be familiar with this area because you've been here a number of times for your nodes, for your sleep request, maybe even for your World Line 0, for all of that. So by this point, you should be familiar with the mine lab. If it slipped your mind where it's at, I showed you on screen. All we're going to do is scan the computer and get the data log. Once we do that, it's going to give us recycled components. For this, we need to defeat 5 bosses, an escalation protocol, and you can do the first wave 5 times. You can run the whole thing through and get it in one run. Keep in mind that if you start the first wave and you leave, it'll take you a bit longer, though you can absolutely run, the first wave to the last wave in one go and get it done in that way if you want to do it faster. Once you defeated your 5 bosses in Escalation Protocol, our next step is going to be signal shielding. For this step, what you need to do is complete the Deathly Tremors heroic adventure on Mars. That's it. That's all it is to it. As has been previously mentioned, there isn't anything extra. There are no secrets. There are no, you gotta, do this or that. It's just very straightforward, very simple. Bring up the heroic adventure, start it, complete it. That's it. That's gonna get you. That's gonna complete this quest step, signal shielding. So, as was mentioned, once you make it to Mars, you're on the last leg of the quest. And Mars, once you make it to Mars, it's far easier than Io, Titan, and Mercury. It's not as grindy, it's not as, it won't burn you out. And, once you complete your heroic adventure, you're going to get this Force Reboot, which is going to instruct you to return to Anna. Once again, she's going to talk to you. She's going to give you a rocket launcher. Again, you don't need to keep it. You don't need to do anything with it. You can dismantle it. You can vault it. You can do whatever you like with it. You don't need it for this quest. Once you have talked to Anna, you're going to get this right here. Return to Zavala in the tower. Once you return to Zavala in the tower, he is going to have your brand new exotic sidearm, Traveler's Chosen. So that's it. That's all it is for Exodus Evacuation. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I'm Nate. I'll catch you guys on the next one.